What's up, internet? About, I don't know, a week or so ago, maybe 2-3 weeks by the time the video actually comes out, but I posted a poll on my community tab on the channel, and basically asking, hey, next time I do a traditional street moto vlog, what bike do you want me to do it on? And of course the Busa won out handedly, I think 72%, and the ZX10 and the Gixxer both got the same percentage. I was actually kind of impressed there's that much classic shred GSXR lovers out there. That's kind of cool. So don't fret, there'll be one of those coming out soon too. But 72% is pretty overwhelming, so the Busa wins, and that's this video. And today we're going to talk about what I don't like about the Busa. I haven't done that video yet, and I've certainly mentioned a few things, probably popular things that most people don't like in previous videos, like the exhaust. I don't like the exhaust. It's huge, it's ginormous, it's really heavy. I think weighs in the complete exhaust, mufflers, resonance chamber, and headers, the whole thing measures in at just under around 50 pounds. That's a significant amount of weight for a motorcycle. So I don't like that, but I've mentioned that one before. But along the same lines, the heat shield, specifically on the left side, it gets me every time. It makes it really difficult to find the kickstand, and a number of times I'll tap it with the heel of my shoe, which, you know, most of the time when I'm doing just local rides and not going very far, I'm wearing sneakers, so the fact that I'm still hitting it, I don't know, it's just awkward. But again, I've mentioned some of these before, and I'm not too worried about it because the life of the stock exhaust on my bike is not going to be very long. Kind of along the same lines is this little chrome strip up front on the side fairings. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think, you know, I said along the same lines because I think it's there to kind of tie in the exhaust. You know, they're both shiny, and I don't know, they kind of go together a little bit, and I'm just trying to find the positives here, but I don't like it. And once the exhaust is gone, that's going to be one of the first aesthetic mobs. I think I'm just going to wrap it and black it out, but I don't like it. I just don't like it. So with the exhaust, it's going to go. Looking at my cheater notes here, ABS, the fact that you can't purchase a non-ABS model, that kind of sucks. I don't like that either, and you can't adjust it. All that said, I have hit the brakes on this a couple of times pretty aggressively, and I have yet to feel the ABS kick in. And you know, from a car perspective, this is my first bike with ABS, so I kind of have to go back to, you know, driving a car. It's pretty obvious when the ABS pump kicks in. You can feel it through the pedal, and I would imagine it's a similar sensation on the bike. So, you know, I think it stinks that you can't get a non-ABS version, but that said, I don't think this is a very intrusive ABS. Sometimes I've heard horror stories where ABS is, you know, overly aggressive on some motorcycles, and that's just a damn shame. It really is. Now, in the community post, I mentioned about some things. I mentioned about, I swear I'm speaking English. I'm trying to speak English. I had mentioned that there are some things that I had not talked about in previous videos that might surprise a few people. One of those things, and I think that this particular item is really just something you get used to. It's not a really big complaint. It's just something I noticed the first time I went on a long ride. I think it was around 3 hours, 3.5 hours, somewhere along that line. And that is the return spring on the throttle, the ride-by-wire system. I think it's a little bit stiffer than what I'm used to. My wrist was actually kind of sore after that first ride, and I recorded a video on that ride, but I didn't want to mention it because I wasn't really sure why it was sore, and I didn't want to falsely blame the bike, but I'm pretty sure that it's just the stiffness of the return spring on the throttle. It's just stiffer than what I'm used to, and I think at this point I've gotten used to it. I have not experienced the soreness since then, but it was sore. And I used cruise control on that ride too, so it's not like my wrist was working the entire time. But that's one that I haven't really talked about before, and I just found it interesting. But I don't think it's a big deal. You get used to it, right? Apparently Suzuki's return spring is stiffer than Kawasaki's, and of course my 2015 doesn't have ride-by-wire. All right, so here's another one I have mentioned. That is the cruise control on-off button. Setting your speed, accelerating, decelerating, canceling, all of that is pretty easy, straightforward. But just turning cruise control on so that you can even set it so you can set your speed, it's just cumbersome to try and hold the throttle in position and then reach over with your thumb. And I think I mentioned that in the review I did on this video, because that was just something that I picked up on pretty quickly, because I think mostly because I was excited to test the cruise control. I love cruise control. It was always one of those things where I was like, who needs cruise control? Come on, man, be a man. But now I'm like, no, give me my damn cruise control. So I was eager to use it, and I was like, well, this kind of sucks. It is what it is. But fortunately, that's something you just do once, right? You turn it on, and then at that point you're using all the controls on the left hand side, so not a huge deal. You know what, I wanted to mention at the top of this video, I'm not trying to like pick on the bike. I love this bike, I really do. It's an absolute gem. Suzuki just nailed it with the Gen 3. But there is no bike, I think, that you're gonna be 100% perfectly happy with. You're gonna find things, and fortunately I don't think there's any like really big things. I mean, to be honest, as much as I hate this exhaust system, it's just, you know, the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I can't really think of a stock exhaust system on a street bike that I like. So I mean, you know, besides a tail tidy, the exhaust is usually one of the first things to go, because they're all pretty butt ugly at this point. So I mean, I can't, you know, so Suzuki's is the butt ugliest, whatever, shit's gonna go anyway, so I don't get too wrapped up in it. Golly, I think the last thing I want to talk about was the shift light. It's the dumbest shift light ever. It got so many colors. The shift light's like a goddamn rainbow. So if I remember correctly, and we'll test it out here in a minute, there's a white light, and then a green light, and then finally the orange light. I think it's orange, it might be yellow. So I totally got all that wrong. So there are 3 different colors. There is a white, a green, and an orange, but I got the order incorrect. It's actually green, orange, and then the white light. As you can see here, we go into the RPM set, and we can change what RPM the white light, which is what the main light is, we can change whatever RPM that goes off at. Notice the tachometer to the left moving as I change the value in the menu. You can adjust the green and orange lights by going to the sub, and let's say, for example, you set it to 1000 RPMs. That means the orange light will go off at 1000 below whatever the white light is set off, or the main, and then the green light will go off 2000 RPMs below whatever the white light, the main light, is set at. You can adjust the light from a solid to a blinking light, and you can also just turn the shift light or the RPM set. You can turn it off completely, but unfortunately you can't turn off the 2 sub lights. I was hoping I could just turn off the sub light and just have one main light. I think the fact that I got the order of the colors wrong kind of like proves my point. This is just overly complicated. You don't need multiple lights. One light, blinking or solid, adjustable is great. You set it at whatever RPM you want it to go off and just be done with it. One last thing before we get back to the writing portion of the video, I forgot to talk about this in the video, and that is when I purchased this 97 GSXR 600 almost 25 years ago, I think almost 25, it came with this. This is what you use to prop the tank up
so that you can get to the air box and do things like change your air filter or pull the air box and the carburetors off, or whatever you need to do underneath the tank. So this thing is worth its weight in gold. It can't cost that much for Suzuki to make these and provide them with the bike. Why they stopped, when they stopped providing these with the bike, I have no idea. But this thing is worth its weight in gold. I didn't get one with my Kawasaki Ninja. I didn't get one with the Hayabusa, but I wish Suzuki would go back to providing these to the buyers of their motorcycles. The other thing is this bike also came with that rear cowling. I didn't have to buy it. It came in a bag when I picked up the motorcycle. I mean, that's freaking awesome. I can't even find the rear cowlings for the Hayabusa. I think they're all on back order, and I think that's probably more of a COVID thing than anything else. But I wish that Suzuki would go back to providing the rear cowling and these tank props with the motorcycle. I mean, why not?
But the light that's actually there to like, hey, it's time to shift now. It's like the white light comes on first, and it's like, you know, I just think of colors white and green like they're kind of, you know, neutral in terms of their meaning. Like here in America, and I guess around the world, green means go. Well, I'm already going. Why are you flashing or turning on a green light to tell me to go? I'm going, damn it. That's what that, you know, like it doesn't make any sense. Now, I did a bit of road racing in my younger years, I think for three years on the East Coast with the same GSXR Shroud that I've been building on for the last year. And I mean, I can tell you from on-track racing experience, you don't need, or I should say you don't have time. It's just, shit is just too damn busy unless you're like hole shotting and you're running out front. And then if you're a badass, you're probably lapping people at some point. So there's not a lot of time, right? You're racing. And if you get a bad start or a bad grid position, there's people all around you, right? I don't need to think, oh, wait, white? What comes after white? Green? I don't know. Is it green first? I can't remember. Look, all you need is one light, red, orange, or yellow, right? I mean, those universally signify, you know, caution or something of importance. Pay attention. You know, you need to take action, right? You need to do something. Green and white, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And having three different colors representing three different stages, I can't remember exactly. I'll look at the owner's manual, put a picture on the screen, but you can set the RPM at which the shift light engages, and then what it does is it automatically subtracts, you know, a few hundred RPMs for the green light and another few hundred for the white light. And so you can trigger when the orange yellow light comes on, and then that automatically sets the values for the other colors. But when I was racing, all I needed was one light, and just one solid light, yellow, red, orange, and I could set it at, say, you know, 500 below whatever RPM I really wanted to shift at. And that's just because it takes a second, you know, once the light comes on for you to actually grab a gear. So you don't want to set it right before the rev limiter comes on. You need a second, right? So I would set it, and this just took time and practice and testing, really. But I can't really remember because it was so long ago. But I would probably set it at, like, you know, 250 or maybe 500 RPMs below what I wanted it to actually go off. So the light would come on and I would have enough time to grab a gear. Simple as that. I don't need all the damn different colors, and I'll try and demonstrate here for you in a second. But I don't know that if you can control the shift light beyond setting the maximum threshold. I think that's the only thing you can do, because if they allowed you to turn the other colors off, oh my god, I would just have one color and it would go off at just a few hundred RPMs below whatever the red line for the bike is, which I think is 11,000. So I think you got to see it there. Again, I'm trying to look ahead as well, but well, that's gonna about do it for me. Not a long list, really just lots of small things, because again, this is a magnificent motorcycle that I love very much. And you know, some of these things like the exhaust, that's all going to get remedied in time. We're going to get ourselves some aftermarket bits, a little vinyl wrap to get rid of that chrome strip, and yeah, minus the shift light, should be damn near perfect. I'll have to look at the manual, see if I can turn those other colors off. I really don't need them. They're unnecessary. I just need one color. It comes on right before I need to shift. That's it. Just keep that shit simple. I don't need to be doing arithmetic in my head. By the time I add something or subtract something, the next color comes on anyway. So, come on, man. It doesn't make any sense. Alright guys, keep the rubber side down. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.